Welcome to the Week 7 Survivor League breakdown. I'm Jason Gilbo of Fantasy Football Cafe. We got a London game to worry about this week at 9:30 our time, Sunday morning. We got Seahawks 49ers in the NFC West game. A lot of ugly matchups this week. We got some solid teams on bye. Looking at the Broncos, Packers, and Bengals, the Bears as well. But as for solid teams, Bengals, Broncos, Packers, all big teams on byes this week. So it kind of leaves some scraps out there for the rest of us to deal with as far as choosing winners. But Thursday night, Seahawks, Niners in Levi Stadium there. Don't really like the matchup for either team. Low total here could be an ugly one, although Seattle is favored by 6.5. I can't trust their defense. Kaepernick's looked pretty decent in the last 2 weeks. The offensive line for Seattle is awful. I think this is going to be a close one. I just can't see either team really being a clear favorite. So definitely, once again, fading the Thursday night game. Sunday, London game, Bills-Jags. Bills are favored by 5. Dealing with some injuries. Tyrod Taylor may be back this week. Sammy Watkins, Percy Harvin probably not going to be playing. That's some issues right there, although LaShawn McCoy, Charles Clay still back. McCoy looked really well, last week there. But I think the Bills have enough. Their defense is good enough to shut down corners, to stop Hearns and Robinson. Give me the Bills to come out on top in London there. Saints Colts. Colts are favored by 4.5 points. Big 52 total. Love this game for a shootout. But you know what? Colts offense looked pretty solid, and I'm banking on them to torch that Saints secondary this week and come away with a win at home. So I am definitely favoring the home team here. If it was in New Orleans, I'd probably be turning the opposite way. Should be a close game, but I like the Colts to pull this one out. However, you're probably waiting for a better matchup to pick the Colts on. Redskins and Bucks. Yuck. Washington favored by 3 points in Washington. I can't really say once again either team's gonna pull one out over the other one and be a clear favorite here. I think with the Bucks offense rolling the way it is with Doug Martin, I still think the Washington secondary is pretty banged up. You gotta like the Bucks' chances in this one on the road. Even if Jameis Winston is under center throwing picks like no one's business out there, but you gotta like the Bucks in this one. Falcons Titans. Looking at one of the best games to pick this week is the Falcons, favored by 4 points, although it should be more. Possibly no Marcus Mariota. The running game is awful in Tennessee. Falcons clear favor. Julio Jones, Devonta Freeman should torch this Titans defense and score plenty on the road there. So you like that one. Vikings and Lions. Well, Lions pulled out their first win last week. Now back at home still against Minnesota. Minnesota comes in as 2.5-point favorites. I do like the Vikings in this one because their defense is a lot better than the Bears is. I don't see Stafford. Stafford's always had poor performances against Minnesota. And the running game, Amir Abdullah might be out. Theo Riddick, not an every down back. Drake Bell's been non-existent. You lock up Calvin Johnson. You make Stafford throw to other wide receivers against this defense. Can't really see him getting anything going. As well as for the Lions defense, they're ranking the bottom 5. Peterson, Stephon Diggs, who's found a nice role there. Teddy Bridgewater throwing the ball well. Give me Minnesota in this one. Steelers-Chiefs. The Chiefs looked absolutely horrendous in their first week without Jamal Charles on offense. Possibly Jeremy Maclin not out or will be out this week. He's questionable. Steelers, yeah, they're starting, Jones there. But I gotta like this team here going against the Chiefs defense, even if it's on the road. Not Macklin, Antonio Brown and Martavis Bryant have 2 great matchups with corners on the outsides. Expect Le'Veon Bell to get more touches in the backfield in the passing game, as well as touching the ball 20-plus times. You guys see the Steelers coming into Arrowhead and walking away with a win. Browns-Rams, we continue the ugly train here. It's just bad matchup after bad matchup, but I gotta like the Rams here. They're favored by 7. Defense is looking a lot better than it has in the previous weeks, and they're going to feed Todd Gurley 25, 30 times, and he is just going to run wild against this Cleveland Browns team. McCown's probably not going to be on the field a ton, throwing the ball around as well as he has his last few weeks. So you know what? Give me the Rams. They are actually up to one of my safer picks of the week, even though this game looks like an ugly matchup. picking Todd Gurley there. Texans and Dolphins. Dolphins looked great in their first change of management. Lamar Miller was fed the ball, but also Texans. Brian Hoyer had that offense clicking with DeAndre Hopkins, Arian Foster, Cecil Shorts. They're a scary bunch on offense. I think they could put up a ton of points. Two teams that are have some different storylines going on and coming into this week. Ones I don't really want to pick with, not in my survivor pools here. Miami's favored by 4, but honestly, this is going to be a close one. I can't see either one pulling away like many of the ones this week. Jets, Patriots, New England favored by 10, although this is probably going to be a fairly close game. Once again, Patriots defense hasn't looked great. Eric Decker, Brandon Marshall, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Chris Ivory, who's had a monster season so far. You got to like the Jets being able to keep up with the Pats in this one. I think the defense is good. Edelman's banged up. If you didn't see that finger, it was, dismembered from his entire hand. But they haven't looked too great. I can't knock the Jets out of this one and say this is an easy win for the Pats. So I'm probably definitely going to wait on the Patriots, use them later in the road as they continue their 5-0 season. Raiders, Chargers, give me the Chargers in this one. Favored by 4. Raiders have one of the worst secondaries in the league. Expect Malcolm Floyd, Keenan Allen, Antonio Gates, the Oakland can't stop tight ends, to all have a big game. Rivers to throw for a bunch of yards. I think this one's going to be pretty high scoring, but I like the Chargers to win by at least 10 there, although San Diego's only favored by 4. Chargers put them up with the Falcons, and the Rams is one of the top teams to pick this week. Oh, the Giants in the late afternoon game against the Cowboys at home. You got to like them against the Cowboys here with all their injuries, even though the Giants haven't looked great. Favored by just 3, but at home. Matt Castle under center. Terrence Williams is your leading wide receiver. Defense hasn't been that great. They're a bit banged up as well. Giants throw them up there as well with one of the favorable teams. Eagles and Panthers. Panthers definitely shocked me last week. Going into Seattle, picking up a win. The offense was cruising, which was surprising. Seattle's defense hasn't looked great, allowing all those fourth quarter comebacks. You gotta like the Panthers defense in this one as being the X factor, because Sam Bradford hasn't been great. The receiving core has been hit or miss with guys like Josh Huff, Riley Cooper catching big touchdowns every now and then. Last night was kind of the first night we saw DeMarco Murray have a big game in a Philly uniform. So at home, I like the Panthers defense. You got guys back, Josh Norman, who's just a lockdown corner. The way they're running the ball well, Cam Newton throwing the ball well with Greg Olsen. I can't see the Eagles picking up a win there, although it is a risky pick to take the Panthers. Monday night, Ravens-Cardinals is going to be a good one. Arizona favored by 9. Back at home where the Cardinals really thrive. Baltimore has one of the worst secondaries in the league. And John Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Floyd, Carson Palmer all should be throwing for big yards, or throwing big yards to them. And you got to like the Cardinals coming on top and come out on top big. Ravens just don't have enough offensive firepower. It's basically Forsett and Steve Smith, and that's it. And you throw Patrick Peterson on Steve Smith, and you got the front seven who is playing very well in Arizona, locking up Forsett. I can't see Flacco scoring a ton of points in this one, so give me the Cardinals as well. That's going to wrap it up here for Week 7. It's an ugly Week 7, but we may do Falcons, your safe play, but also throw in the Rams, Cardinals, Chargers, and Giants as your top teams this week.